All right, here we are. Joining us from Charlotte. We are actually in the shipyard, the gym in my backyard. Fucking let's go. Here we go.
The fact you can say that with a serious face and you wholeheartedly call it the shipyard.
I mean, there's a logo on the ground. I mean,
Your logo,
put
custom
full,
logo.
Put full tilt into this. We got Baker Mayfield joining us again, like we do every week. Tough loss. How we doing, brother? You doing all right?
Oh, good. Hanging in there. Yeah, it's been a long few days, but yeah, I mean, you hit it. It was a tough loss, just because yeah, one of those games that we felt like we prepared well, and then just didn't go out and execute the way we wanted to, and just kind of let it slip away.
So that seems to kind of be the theme, right? So far on the three losses, right? Like we're not executing the way we want to, slow starts, right? So how are you and the rest of the team and the coaching staff addressing that moving forward? Like, is that a point of emphasis going into this week? Like, hey, listen, we got to get a fast start. We got to get like what exactly is going into that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, specifically, just like narrowing the plays down. I think we've talked about. I've mentioned in the media, but we've just had too many mental errors, too many guys just not doing their job. And I know that sounds cliche, but like it's really, really little things that add up to actually beat us in certain situations on critical third downs and fourth downs. And it's stuff like that. So when it comes down to it, honestly, narrowing the game plan down and trying to simplify it, and for guys to be able to just have, okay, this is what we're doing specifically. Exactly how to attack them when we're doing this. It does help now that we're playing San Fran, because they kind of line up and play what they play, and they just do it at a very high level. So it's a good week for us to be able to really just hone in on our details. And so yeah, I mean, it's not to simplify it too much, but it is kind of one of those weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's so unique about you, right, is you've had a lot of adversity, you've dealt with it, and you've overcome it. I want you to kind of highlight that, talk about that. How do you personally handle that? Because from the outside looking in, this is a tough situation that you found yourself in. You don't make excuses. We understand that. But how is this going to be different, or how are you going to be able to overcome everything that's coming this week?
Yeah. I've been really critical of, just going back and watching the film of like, what can I do better? Like just overall, obviously, winning ball games, playing better starts there. But, I think marrying up my footwork with the schemes that we're running, and just when it comes down to practice, I think, the first few weeks we've kind of seen some repeat things from practice carrying over to the game field, of like just depth on the top of a route, how they're coming out of a route, or certain things that I've been hesitant on, pulling the trigger and letting the ball go. And I think early on last week, I was pulling the trigger. I pulled it on a couple of third downs, was trying to throw it to the tight ends, being decisive. And so instead of, later on trying to do something different, just sticking with whatever's called and going through it and just delivering the ball. So to me, it's one of those weeks to get back to the basics, making sure that I'm doing all the little things right to where it does time out with what the play calls are. And then just kind of managing this game, because it is going to be a hard fought game. They're obviously playing really well on defense. So just handling this one as it's going to take all four quarters, not just starting fast, which we want to, but trying to string together a couple long drives and make them sustain the whole time.
Typically, when you play San Francisco, I mean, I'm a big fan of what they do offensively. I think most people are. They do a lot of really nice things. Part of what they do so well is control the game clock, right? Like, so it's one of the things that kind of puts other offenses kind of in a frenzy, like, oh shit, like we've just been sitting for 9 minutes while they just control the clock, right? So is there anything different that kind of goes into your mind with that going into a week like this, or is it still same thing? We just got to go out and execute?
Yes and no. It's still the mindset that we have to go execute, but we've been awful on third downs in critical situations. So even more so, just honing in on that. So like tomorrow's going to be our third down and some of the red zone day for practice. And so just making sure we narrow it down and that everybody is dialed in on these downs, so to where we can sustain these drives and give our defense a break. Because, looking at it, our defense has played almost one more game's worth of snaps than the offense has, and that's pretty much just because we haven't been able to stay on the field. And even when we do score, it's been on some explosive plays on like a 3 to 4 play drive. So, yeah, it's just executing, but also sustaining these third downs, and that's, for me, that's a huge part for this week.
So you and Rashard Higgins were obviously together. We were all together in Cleveland, right?
Yep.
He's not playing a ton right now. Unfortunately, Hig goes out there, tries to take the handoff, fumbles it in a critical situation, as you just talked about before, a critical turnover,
Yep.
a turnover. What do you say to a guy like that when something like that happens? Because he's not getting many opportunities right now, right? But that was a very critical point in the game.
Yeah. To me, that's one of those tricky things that, like, when there's a drop or, a false start or stuff like that, when you tell a guy, hey, don't do that, it's like, no shit. Like what can you really say in that moment to, like, get him out of that funk? And nothing more so than, I've always said, hey, the ball is going to somehow find you again later on, or you're going to have a critical play that we're counting on you. So flush it. Let's move forward. And just, I don't know, trying to find the positive. There was a lot of game left. That was a critical play. Just, we were in their territory driving the ball, but trying to eliminate the fact that it's not the end of the world, just because there is a lot of time left in that game.
Hey, that's so okay. So you're coming off, 3 out of 4 losses, essentially, right? You guys got to get the ship turned around, per se, right?
We are in the shipyard.
We are in the shipyard. See that? No pun intended. So where we go with this is you have a tough team coming in. A team is playing well, right? And so, again, we've talked about this so many times. Coaches are always going to overthink it. They're always going to really put the panic button in play right now. You as the leader, right? Like, this is like kind of where you have to, like, separate yourself from the coaches and really keep everybody. Is there anything different? Because you also don't want to fall into the trap of, like, thinking that everything you're doing is wrong, right? So how do you keep the guys separate and say, hey, boys, listen, just everybody settle down. How do we do this? So what are you doing anything different like that during this week?
Yeah, I'm completely with you on the fact, like, saying that we don't need to completely do anything different, because we practice well, we prepare well. We're just going out on Sundays and not playing it or executing. It's just like, it's little things. And so for me, it's when it comes to, things like walkthrough, being way more critical about where guys are at. And, we walk through in the morning before practice, before meetings. And so doing that and making sure that all the little details are being covered, and it doesn't matter who's in there. So for me, it's not micromanaging. It's just making sure that everybody's extremely detailed. And, we've had a few meetings so far that just, it's a lot of player-led accountability at this point. And that's just how it has to be. And luckily we do have some guys on offense that are, extremely accountable. I mean, starting with Christian McCaffrey. So, I mean, it's just, when you have guys like that, I don't have to be completely looking around. I still have to do my job first and foremost, but it's how I'm handling it is making sure that our leaders are being extremely accountable and making sure that nothing goes unsaid. And it started off with our post-game tape. We watched it as a whole group on offense, and coaches didn't really speak. Players talked.
I hated this.
So uncomfortable. You're just crawling in your skin and you're like,
oh, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Like 36.
No matter what.
I remember, like, play 36. This guy decleated me on a TT. Fuck! Can we fast forward for that play?
And but it's also, I think it was eye-opening for guys to see what other people were noticing, and so it was good for us. And so, like I said, we have to be more detail-oriented, whereas we haven't been. And now going into a week where when we see is what we're going to get on defense. So everybody just has to do their job. And so that's how I'm handling it. Whether that's the right or wrong thing, I feel like it's the right thing right now. So we're going to roll with it.
100%. I'm just going to piggyback before Drew gets his question. I think it's so important what you brought up, right? Like most people don't. It's probably the only sport where you could have 10 of 11 guys doing everything right, and one guy makes one wrong step, wrong turn, whatever you want to call it, and the whole play's screwed up. And it's so important for people to understand that. Like they see when you lose that it's like everything has gone wrong. No. It's one thing here, one thing there, one thing there. And those 8 plays determine the outcome of the game every week. And that's just kind of where you want to go. Go ahead.
No, that's a good point. I mean, and even take that one step further, it could be a mental mistake here. It could be a physical mistake here.
Mhm.
It could be a technique mistake here, or not working with a double team or anything like that. So I think that's the beauty of playing this sport, right? So what's one guy that you're looking to get involved in this game with right away? Is there a guy in your mind of saying, hey, we haven't done a good job, or maybe I'm going to spend extra time with him this week, or I need to get more reps with this guy? Is there one guy that you're kind of sitting there saying, if we're going to be successful, because obviously Christian McCaffrey is everybody's focal point to stop. Is there another guy that you're saying he's got to help us either take the top off the coverage? We've got to get the ball in his hands early on. We've got to be able to, establish whatever it is. Is there something that you're looking at this week to be able to really hone in on?
Yeah, I think honestly it's DJ Moore. So I mean, for us, we started off, finding ways to get him the ball last week, and so now it's how do we continue to do that? I mean, sitting there and watching the Monday night game, you watch the Rams target Cooper Kupp 20 times or whatever it was.
40% of their touches on the year. Cooper Kupp is 40% of the Rams touches this year. It's insane.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there watching this and I'm like, okay, how do we get the ball in our best players' hands? And so between Christian, DJ, and Robbie, they all 3 have to be able to play off each other. They just do. And so Robbie's been winning a lot on some of these routes and, threatening people to speed. So between him and DJ, it's going to be a big week for them, because I'm interested to see how they do play Christian. And we continually see different looks, a lot of double teams and people coming down to bring safeties to cover them. But and those guys have to take advantage of it. And that's just how it is.
Hey, we're fired up to watch you play. Hey, go have a week this week. Huh?
Have some fun, right?
Go to the shipyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited. No, seriously, I'm excited to see you guys start fast, because you're due to start fast. I'm excited to see you just come out guns blazing, the boys rolling at home, fired up, and get this thing back on track, huh?
Yeah, and I'm excited too. We've been talking so damn much, it's time to just go play ball and have fun. And so I think it's a good week for us to do that. Obviously a great opponent, but I think everybody's sick and tired of not playing well and talking about it.
Those are long weeks, right? And when you've only won once in the month, luckily there's a whole bunch of time left. 2 final thoughts, right? Half the league is at 2-2 right now, right? So you guys are like half the league. There's so much parity, call it for whatever reason, of preseason football or all of this, right? Offenses behind defense. You guys are going to be just fine. Lastly, that's a good looking haircut you got. That is a good looking haircut.
Oh, thanks. Emily's been working on her haircutting skills. She's been lining me up.
The wifey, huh?
Yeah.
Wifey cut your hair.
Yeah.
Did you ever let Cher cut your hair?
No, this has been my haircut for far too long. I'm envious and jealous of people with hair. We got the puppet.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. And an appearance by Fergus.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fergus will make everybody feel better.
There we go.
Yeah. Hey, man, thank you so much for joining us. I know not always easiest to kind of do these things after a loss, but man, we're excited to watch you go out and ball out this week. Good luck to you. Good luck to the Carolina Panthers. And thanks again for joining us.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. Thursday.
Oh, wow. Rub it in.